last year in college. I'll tell you what, Josh, we were hitting the dance floor with that one. Poll question. Once again, make sure you're letting us know whether you think the NBA should be changing the 65-game requirement for the MVP. That's a yes or no answer. Get us back to us. And also, NBA legend, are we getting any suggestions, Josh?
None that I can see right now. We do have a couple in the tank.
Okay.
From previous weeks, but right now, no. Okay.
And I've got one that I am going to go to if we don't get any suggestions. So we'll announce that in our last segment. But right now, I want to talk about our Community Champion of the Week. It's sponsored by Innovative Benefits. If it's time for you to review your company benefits, personal insurance plans, or investment strategies, talk to Randy and his team at Innovative Benefits. They will give you the straightforward and honest advice and access to the best products in the industry. Trust the great folks at Innovative Benefits to do what's best for you, your family, and your business. To find out more, go to innovativebenefits.ca. And our community champion this week is someone very, very special. Samantha Ringuette works tirelessly in the community to bring basketball opportunities and sport opportunities through her teaching and her coaching to young girls and young women in our city and surrounding areas. Samantha, welcome this morning, and thank you for making time from your busy schedule. I know you're at an event right now, so thank you for making time.
Thank you for asking me.
So Samantha, give our listeners your story. How did you acquire and develop such a passion for the sport of basketball and also for coaching the sport of basketball with the kind of zeal that you coach it with?
I honestly don't know how I got into basketball and the elements that I had. I grew up playing all different kinds of sports with all different style of coaches, and you kind of pick the ways that you want to lead from the people that lead you growing up. And I had some really great leaders that made a real big impact on me. And
give us an example of one of those great leaders and why they made such an impact in your life.
Well, I had a chemistry teacher in high school, and she didn't have to do much. She just had to be the positive presence in my life to make me see that I'm capable of doing things that I want to do. And it might not be sport related, but it showed me that someone believed in me and that I can do things if someone believes in me. And I felt that there was a bit of a gap for that in sports in our city, specifically with girls. You see a lot of awesome promotion of men's sports and boys' sports, but you don't get that same feel for the girls.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to give them that opportunity to have great basketball training, but also a community that believed in them.
I love the fact that you referred to a chemistry teacher because I think oftentimes athletes are influenced by people other than their coaches. Yep. And that help them connect the dots like you just articulated very, very well, Samantha. So thank you for sharing that. I think that's really significant. So now you offer these opportunities to young women to have this kind of outstanding training. Talk about the programs that you run.
Well, I started a program called Altitude Basketball about 4 years ago, so we're relatively new, and started with just a small group of about 20 girls and had an incredibly successful season. So we run spring programs for U10 all the way up to U18, and then we run, probably the biggest part of our club is our fall 3-on-3. So we had close to 100 girls doing 3-on-3 basketball throughout the fall this year. And that is for absolutely any athlete who wants to play. We had girls who have never touched a basketball before to girls who are signing to play ACAC and U Sport. So it didn't matter where you came from. We wanted you there just to play. And it was fantastic, the growth we saw in some of these girls from not being able to dribble the ball with confidence to, by the end, being able to go between their legs was fantastic.
Now, of course, you know, as we have talked many times, my passion for 3x3, the fact that you have invested in this in the way that you have with your efforts. I'm not talking monetarily. I'm talking about your efforts, Samantha, your vision. And you hit on something I think that's really critical here. I've been watching a lot of basketball in the community recently, different age levels. And if I have an observation, particularly, it's for both genders, but on the girls' side, the development of girls with fundamental skills when they're just playing 5-on-5. I think it's harder at young ages to develop real good, sound fundamentals. Do you think, and it's a bit of a leading question, but do you think, Samantha, that 3x3 enables better development in key fundamental skill areas at younger ages than 5-on-5?
100%. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to start running it, because you can't really hide in 3-on-3.
Right.
You have to be willing to put yourself out there. You have to be willing to move, because if you're not moving, then you're going 2-on-3 or 1-on-3, and that's a lose-lose situation for that offensive program or that offensive team. You can't. Everyone touches the basketball, and you learn through those experiences. You learn through the gameplay, and it's so fun. We've had such positive support from all the families with our 3-on-3 program. We've been asked to run it through the winter, especially at our younger age groups with U11 and U13. And we ran our U11 program this year the first time. We put the nets low at the 8.5 foot height, and watching them play was so cool because they learned how to cut, they learned how to space. And at U11, that can often be hard, especially in a 5-on-5. So watching them being able to understand that and then bring it to their community teams was really cool to watch.
Well, I love the way that you describe that. For U11, you're on 8.5 foot hoops, and the time that the kids are spending is with the basketball in a concentrated area. Like you said, you can't hide, and hide almost has a negative ramification, but that isn't negative at all. It means, like you said, you have to put yourself out there. You're going to have to be involved. You really have no choice because you're in a smaller space, less distance to cover with only 2 teammates. So you're going to touch the ball. So the necessity to try things becomes very real. You can only hide so long, and it's so much less threatening than 5-on-5. Is that a truism from your experience as well, Samantha?
Oh, 100%. I love 3-on-3 because it also forces them to be teammates. It forces you to have that teamwork and work together and find ways to work together. Because the moment that our U13 started realizing that they're going to draw that defense towards them, someone else is going to be open. So now they need to work on their passing to get their teammates open. And it's a very meaningful and very engaging way to develop your skills.
Well, the thing about you, Samantha, that I've observed personally, but many others who have who know you, who work with you, who compete against you, you've developed a huge amount of respect in the basketball community because of your walking the walk of really making your program about the athlete. You're not exorbitantly expensive. That's a whole different topic, that whole club world for both girls and boys.
Definitely.
But what I'm looking for, what I look for in people's character in terms of walking the walk is making this accessible, affordable, and making it easier for kids and their families to make decisions to get their child involved in it, because they get carried. I think it just gets so carried away into Instagram, social media, clothes, traveling to tournaments. And what you're talking about is the essence of the game, which is skill development, and more than that, becoming a great teammate and character development as well. Yep.
We're a fully volunteer, so with this club, I don't get paid. Everything our coaches are doing is volunteer based. And our number one focus is to empower those girls, to help them build their confidence, help them build their leadership. We've had some high school girls, one is in grade 12, one's in grade 11, and they've been coaching with our younger programs for the last couple years, and that's helping them develop leadership. We're very intentional with what we do, and I think that's not always common, but hopefully going to get more common.
You're being very kind. It's not common. It's not common. No, I'll rephrase that. It's not common enough. What you're describing is not common enough. The capitalist impact on basketball has influenced how people behave. Like the fact that you are intentional, you're developing young people along with yourself. You're a young person yourself, Samantha. Yep. Way ahead of your time, wise beyond your years. Share with our listeners and viewers how they can get in touch with you and learn more about your program if they're considering having their child participate.
Well, we have a website, altitudebasketball.ca, and we're very active on Instagram and social media. Those are definitely the best ways to get a hold of us.
Okay.
We run lots of camps through the summer, skill sessions, and of course our 3-on-3. When it opens, it fills. So
altitudebasketball.ca. Folks, do your child a favor. Go to altitudebasketball.ca. This is the real deal. This is really about the kids, and they're going to get better. Samantha, you are, like I said, you walk the walk. Samantha Ringuette, thank you so much for joining us. You are truly a community champion.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Samantha Ringuette joining us today here on Sports 1440 on Hoop City. Paul Sir, Josh Fenwick. We're going to take a break right now. I'm really excited about our next guest. Milos Prijovic is a great young guy, and he has a wonderful story to tell, but we're going to delve into a topic I'm really quite passionate about. Why are the Serbs so darn good in basketball? Join us. Welcome back. Hoop City, Paul Sir, Josh Fenwick joining you today from Sports 1440. I have had something on my mind for some time. I remember watching the Paris Olympics, and the Serbian Olympic team played the American Olympic team, the vaunted Olympic team, LeBron, Steph Curry, all the great players. And through 3 3/4 of the game, the Serbian team had the Americans on the ropes. And it was only through, I think, a bit of luck, maybe a little bit of home cooking on the official side, that the Americans eked out a win against the Nikola Jokic-led Serbian national team. But it wasn't all just Nikola Jokic. It was an example of how great the basketball is in the country of Serbia. Now, Serbia is a small country, about 10 million people.
6 to 7 million.
6 to 7. Oh, wow. 7 million people. And they produce some of the greatest basketball players in the world. But also you see Djokovic in tennis at 38 years old, still getting to a Grand Slam final. It's a marvelous, and I had the privilege of coaching our next guest. Milos Prijovic came to Concordia University, where I was the head coach, from Serbia via a junior college in Minnesota, and came to Concordia to play out his career, was an all-Canadian. Milos had a wonderful career, one of my absolute favorite players I've ever had the privilege of coaching. And I invited Milos in today so we could have a conversation about his native Serbia, and also, of course, about Milos's decision to, for the time being anyway, to make his life here in Canada. Milos, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Coach, and thank you for having me.
It's awesome.
Thank you for nice words.
Well, they come easily because they're all true. So, Milos, you play basketball growing up in Serbia, obviously. Let's talk about the experience that you had. What was it like when did you start playing? Let's start there.
Let's start there. As most kids in Serbia, we start with soccer, right?
Right.
So I did play soccer for 5 years before probably grade 7. I was really much taller than my other peers, and I started playing basketball just because one of my neighbors was a basketball coach, and he's like, come with me for a few practices. There you go.
Okay.
That's how I started.
So 7th grade.
7th grade, yes.
So what was now you don't have school basketball per se, correct? It's all club based.
It's all club based. Yes, that's a huge difference between, for example, North American and European style of early, careers, early development. That's right. That we have clubs, and technically whenever you start, and usually kids start with around 6, 7, 8, years old. They do play for clubs, and when you play for clubs, that's right away on certain level, because you have technically practices every day except weekends. Here is more, I know, if you play for a school, they have once or twice per week, most of them, not all of them. And that itself is a huge difference. From early stage, you do go, that becomes your second most important thing after school.
Okay.
It's basketball, and you beg your parents that they have money to put you through when they go, for example, for tournaments outside of the city, because most of the stuff you have to pay from your pocket.
Okay.
So often you don't go on those, we call it excursions, how you say it, when you go outside the school, see different cities and stuff.
Okay, so they call road trips.
Road trips, I guess, yes,
Yeah.
road trips, yes. And you tell your parents, hey, I want to save that money so I can go with a club on road trips. Let's say on the mountain when we have a period where we prepare for the next season. And those are early sacrifices that lots of kids will do it no matter what. They choose club over going with of course, who can afford. You want to go everywhere you could.
Sure.
But if you had to choose, which I had to choose, I always selected club.
No. I want to get into the real quickly into the nitty gritty.
Yes.
All right. You're in 7th grade. You join a club. Is there a fee to join that club?
Yes, usually it is a fee. Certain amount. Yeah.
Certain
per
amount
month.
of money to
Per month.
practice and
Yeah.
play league games
Yes.
for that club.
That's right.
And you practice 5 times a week, and do you play one league game on the
And
weekend?
yes, on weekend, usually Sundays or Saturdays, you play one game. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when you talk about the tournaments, then it's just straight cost basis, out of pocket. We're going from here to here. It's going to cost X amount to play in the tournament, X amount for your food and your housing, etc. So this is how much money it's
That's
going
right.
to be.
I mean, big clubs like, Red Star and Partizan and
Yes.
stuff, yes, they would have, for their players, big teams, they have money. But if you're playing in smaller teams and local clubs, definitely they cannot sustain all of that. And
Okay, and when
Yeah.
you talk about Red Star, they also have soccer, right?
they have, that's
soccer,
a whole...
and then
it's
EuroLeague
whole-
basketball. Like
Yes,
it's a whole big
those
business.
are. Yeah, it's a big business, exactly. I mean, I'm talking more about smaller local clubs where parents technically finance everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. In that respect, it's the same as here. It's just the model's so different because the emphasis is on 5 days of practice and skill development. And that kind of dovetails, Milos, into, kind of the nature of our conversation, because you look at a player like Nikola Jokic, like he's not fast.
Yeah.
He couldn't jump over Wetaskiwin's phone book.
Yeah.
He's not
Yeah,
going to
no,
leap out of the
100%.
gym.
Yeah.
But his, and of course, there are intangibles that he was just gifted and born with. He's 7 feet tall. He sees the court. He's got the mental gifts that you can't really teach. But there was a system that developed those gifts. And it sounds to me, and this is where I want your opinion, don't you find the technical, one of the reasons the Serbian players are so good is because they are so fundamentally sound?
100%.
Yeah.
That's exactly. I mean, like you said, those basics and Steve would know the best. He played also in Europe. Those fundamentals and basics, and actually how to think about game, not just because obviously we are not huge athletes in a sense of we can jump out of gym or
right.
Super fast or whatever. I mean, whole Europe is similar in that way, right? Compared to NBA or North America. So definitely they had to focus on that, and all that old school coaching and what we brought from like Yugoslav era kind of thing, transition to obviously kids starting at early age, and then constantly practice, game, and like I said, becomes your second most important thing after school.
Well, now, and I'm talking to Milos Prijovic, all Canadian at Concordia University. He's joining us, and we're talking about the greatness of Serbian basketball and really trying to get into where this emanates from and what makes it special in the world here on Hoop City with Paul Sir and Josh Fenwick. So, okay, you're part of the club. Do they encourage multi-sport participation? Like, what's your club season like, or do you specialize at a young age?
Technically, you specialize at the young age. You won't have time to go on 3 different, if you're a basketball player, you're expected to be here every night after school.
For how many months out of the year?
So technically, similar time frame as the school goes. So, September,
so it's school season.
Yes, school season, yes, definitely. But then you have summer leagues, right?
Okay.
During the breaks. So usually you're expected to play those as well. It's not like you have to, because a lot of parents would take kids on vacation and stuff. So you will be certain period of time away. But again, you're expected when you are in the city to come to practice, and yeah.
Okay, so you've got it mirrors the school year in terms of the formal club practice, and then summer leagues kick in for more opportunities.
Yes.
Now, one of the things, I played basketball in Belgium in 1977-78.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And what struck me back then was the orderliness and the tiering of sport, soccer. It didn't matter what sport, basketball, it didn't really matter. But there was a formal tiering based on your level of ability.
That's right.
And it's very specific, and they make no bones about it. Like, if you're a top-level player, you're identified, and you are promoted and pushed into that
major
situation.
league or whatever. Yes.
Yeah, the best are here.
Yes.
But then from there, you kind of find your water table on where you fit. This is both for ability and for development, but is fun? Here's my question. Was it fun? Is basketball, like in the developmental stage in Serbia, fun? Like, you have old school coaches like you, including playing for poor Milos. And I may even share a story or two before this is over about the terrible things I did as a coach. But was it fun? I mean, I know it's intoxicating, but was it fun for a young person?
Like you said, for me, for example, yes, it was fun. It was my way of channeling my energy, and definitely that. We don't play just to compete. That's whole another level of, is it right or not? But coaches don't teach you there. You play here to just to play. It's just because there is nothing else to do, and your parents told you go
right
so you can go early to bed. Go play sports so you can sleep good.
Yeah.
Every coach there teaches you that you are here to win, and it is expected to win. So no matter who you play against, it's expected to win. And I think that I got hooked up to that adrenaline more than anything. That, yes, I'll shoot as much as I need, off court. So when I go in, no matter who is in front of me, you will take the shot, and you will show him that, you're also made of...
But that's a great point. And that, to me, is universal. That whether it's Canada, the U.S., Serbia, wherever it is in the world, you have to show athletes have to find that one thing. Do you ever see the movie City Slickers?
I don't think so,
all right. There's a great scene in there, a classic scene, where the Billy Crystal asks Jack Palance, what's the secret to life? And Jack Palance says, one thing. And Billy Crystal says, what is that? And he said, that's for you to figure out. But that's what you have to figure out in basketball.
That's right.
Is that you have to show the coach that you deserve to be on the court, that he can't keep you off the court, like you showed me.
That's exactly, and if I can jump in there, over there, I mean, first of all, to start before everything, tough times make tough people. And, a lot of guys from that area and from that region really went through a lot of tough times, sanctions, in 90s, wars, 99.
Actual
war. Like people cannot even, whoever was not in war, you cannot even grasp that. Like, I remember because I was in 1999, I already had 11 years old, right? So you could see everything. You could see, tomahawks flying and whatnot. That wasn't usually Novak Djokovic is talking about when, his parents sell everything just so he can make it. And, so emotions in Serbia in general, probably in that area, are not the first thing, emotions come later. I mean, you have to figure it out. They often say, when you're born, they teach you not to afraid of anyone except God. And in that sense, it's more about, hey, coach, I don't feel this and that, it's like, I don't care, figure it out. It's kind of mentality, yes.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But you better get out on the court.
yes, exactly.
Yeah, well, and I think that's what fascinates me, because like in North America, Milos, as you can see, there's always this constant battle. You've got capitalist pressures in basketball.
Yes.
Like for a lot of kids playing now, the clubs they're playing for are businesses.
Yes.
And it's all about money. Now, was there a profit motive? Like what my image is, and tell me if this is accurate. The club that you played for was an organization, and they paid their staff, they pay their coach, they pay their coaches.
Yes.
And it's a formal organization.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, correct.
All right. And that's where your money comes into it. But it's not, and I'm guessing here, at the top levels, as you go up, you get paid more.
Yes.
In the food chain. But at the second division, third division, you're not getting rich doing this.
No, you're not getting probably any money. It's more like a non-profit organization here, really. So, you have enough money to pay your staff, and it about ends there, Staff, maybe some, basketballs, equipment, and that's about it. So.
Well, in Serbia is the standard of living, the incomes that Serbian people have to live with is far lower than North America per capita.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
So it really takes single-minded dedication on the part of everybody involved. And it seems like, and tell me if this is accurate, here it just seems very confusing. It sounds like in Serbia it's less so. Like it's a clearer black and white choices.
Pretty much. That's exactly it seems like black and white in the sense that, do you want to play basketball? Yes, I will. If I will, that means that I will put everything into it, and everything I can. Of course, not everyone will make it pro or whatever. Technically I didn't make it pro, but I'm still super happy with what I made, in the sense, I played college basketball, I had that opportunity. But dedication and everything else, definitely it's not like I'll play a little bit. Usually those guys play for a year maybe, and that's it. They quit. Whoever is not ready to be under constant somewhat pressure. I don't know if I should call it, but it is at one point, because... And
it starts young.
Yeah, it starts young. It definitely starts young, and you'll learn very fast to cope with your emotions and with your, I had a bad day or whatever, I don't feel like doing stuff. It's like it doesn't matter. Too bad. Yes, exactly.
Interesting, because, and what I saw in the Olympics was exactly that. Now, this is what I heard. I don't know if this is 100% accurate, but I found it really fascinating, is I heard that for 28 days before the Olympics, the Serbian training facility was closed to the media, and they had maybe, I think it was like one or maybe two press opportunities. But you got Nikola Jokic coming off his NBA season, going behind closed doors with his countrymen and teammates, because this was no nonsense.
Yes.
This was no nonsense.
Yes.
And then they go out and they win a bronze medal.
Yes.
And they just do phenomenal things. Fascinating, because the opposite is over here. It's the Apollo Creed fight against in Rocky 3 or 4. It's like exactly that.
No, that's great explanation. I mean, on one side is definitely big business and entertainment. How North Americans, everything is big capitalism, and it's just the way of culture, how it works here, and what is right or wrong. It's very hard to say here, but. Definitely on that side, especially as a small nation, all your pride goes into those small winnings, really. So for us, to be in the finals of Olympic Games, and believe me, no matter time, if I watch that game again, I would probably cry again. Being up plus 15 and just kind of not winning it is tough no matter what. But, we had good history in the sense of, being world champions 5 times and European champions, I don't even know, 6, 7, 8, whatever. It's definitely, it's hard to imagine that such a small nation, no matter what team is together, with Jokic, without Jokic, it is expected that you be in a final, and
and anything less is a disappointment.
It's total disappointment. Yes,
total disappointment.
Yes,
and I think that's really
very hard to play with that kind also.
That is hard. That the pressure is enormous.
Media, especially.
And I would make the transition real quickly over to Djokovic in tennis.
Yes.
That's what I see in him. He's not the most likable guy. For much of his career, when you have charismatic Roger Federer and
Rafa
Nadal, and everybody loves them, and they're just great guys. And you got Djokovic out there, and he's temperamental. He breaks rackets, but his expectation is to win every match, and he is the greatest tennis player of all time because he's won the most majors and was almost able to do it again now at age 38. It's incredible, but it's that single-mindedness and not caring about what the other people think as much as people get caught up here is my assessment.
Definitely. Now we know him for so many years, right? Playing at this level. So we learned about him a lot. But, what we also have to appreciate, but again, we, in a sense of like Serbian nation, is what he did. And we often don't even watch his matches until he's in like at least quarterfinal and semifinals. That's sometimes
you're so used to his win.
Because it's like, okay, first 2 games, it doesn't really matter. Expected, 2-0, 3-0, whatever.
Yeah.
And then we, but again, what he did and what he's doing is really from country that, okay, before that, I think we had that girl, Monica Seles, in 1990s. Before that, I don't know if we're stabbing, coach. Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah. So, really, we are not tennis nation at all.
He's a one-off.
But
and there are some other real good Serbian players, but not like that.
Not even close to that level.
Yeah. Just a special guy, but a lot of it comes from that special mentality that without, he wouldn't be what he is. If he didn't have that singular focus that you're describing.
That's right.
That's part of Serbia.
That's right.
A couple of quick anecdotes before we wrap up. Number one, we've run our 3x3 event here every year, and every year it's won by the Serbs. And every year the Serbian population from Edmonton comes out and has a ball bringing that almost soccer-style support.
Yes.
It's wonderful. And I have to go back to, Milos, the fact that I had the privilege to coach you. I challenged you harder than anybody else I ever coached because I knew you could handle it. And at times I felt like Milos needs this. And I wouldn't say this to anybody else but Milos. And I remember one time you said, after that comment, I hated you, coach. And I deserved it because what I said was just awful. But you went out, and in that game, you had 25 points and 26 rebounds, and we won in overtime. And it was like I knew you had that in you, that other players if I said that to them, they would break and fall apart.
Do you know that that's exactly game that I, even though that was not, it was a playoff game, if I remember,
Yes,
in
it was.
State, right?
Yes.
Or somewhere there.
Mount Royal.
Mount Royal, yes.
Yeah.
And I remember that's one of the games that I will never forget. In that game, that was the game, we have word inat in Serbia, which is like stubborn pride. It's hard to translate, but that's what we usually try to explain to. Anyways, that's probably the game that, in the game, I said, I came to Canada. I went through a lot. I really, I did practice. I know I'm better than these guys who we play against. And we beat them in season, I think, twice, by like...
Kill them. Yeah.
Not beat them, And then we are in
yeah.
playoffs, like, it's done. Today is done. Like, if we don't win, it's done, like, whole year is... And we were down by 15, 20, I don't
20
remember.
at half.
20 at half.
Yeah, one in overtime.
And literally second half, I told myself, listen, I was talking to God, literally, like, I'm going to die today on this court. Like, I don't care about my pulse or anything. If you remember, I was probably not nice to even my players.
You were, and that was wonderful.
I was like,
that was
I remember Ethan is probably telling me, come down. I told him, I don't want to come down. I was like screaming at him.
Well, I remember that game because Lee Dandifer from Augustana was just on fire.
Yes.
And, what's John's name?
They were making
everything out of their minds. It was their
like,
game.
Yes,
They're out of their minds. They're up 20 at half. And John, and I forget his last name, he coaches and teaches at St. FX. Wonderful player. Started to lock Lee down. Ethan had 34, and you had 25 and 26. And But you were the red hot burning fire on the court. That was just, I am not going to lose. And we battled back and won in overtime.
I know. It was at the end, I think me and Ethan just shooting and like grabbing that ball. Like we were going for our own shots. Like we were not giving a second chance.
No, there was no doubt. You guys were going to win that game, and we did.
Oh my
it was
God.
marvelous.
But it is for sure. That's one of the games. People often think it's just like top games are the kind of like finals and whatnot. Definitely finals are huge games. But for individual players, often they have this much smaller game that meant much more to them to prove to themselves than anything else.
And don't you feel like that kind of game, that kind of obstacle that was in front of us, in front of you, that had to be overcome, that's what you take the most from in life when you can prove to yourself that no matter what the situation is, you have the ability to overcome it and come out on top.
No doubt, 100%. And like I said, if there was any game that I would watch again and go through again, it would be that one.
Game.
Yeah.
That's so true. Milos, we're unfortunately out of time. This has been absolutely delightful. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you for having me. It is always a pleasure seeing you.
Likewise.
And I'm sure
all our best and love to your family. So
thank you.
Milos Prijovic, all-Canadian at Concordia University, joining us here on The Deep Dive on Hoop City. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back for a real quick wrap-up. Went long, and I'm glad it did. Josh, let's get the poll update.
Yeah, poll update. It's split 50-50. People don't know whether or not they should change it or not. Quite a few votes for yes, quite a few votes for no, but yeah, split right down that middle.
Again, our audience is so brilliant because that's exactly where it should be, because I know there are compelling reasons on both sides. How in the world do you change it that late? We won't do an NBA legend this week. Bears play this afternoon. Paul's playlist will be up on X. Also look for our podcast. You can listen to the entire show or any of the segments that we have just by going to your favorite podcast provider. Also put out our 3 from Deep blog on our website, 3x3ba.ca. As we do every week, the most important part of the program is this song by my son Ben with his band Worst Days Down. It's dedicated to David Finkelman. We lost both David and Ben far, far too early. And the message I always want to share with people, tell the people that you love, you cannot tell them that you love them enough. And be kind to others, expect the best. Always expect the best about others. Don't make judgments. Otherwise, we don't know what people are going through in their lives. Be kind at all times, as Ben was. Thank you so much for spending today. It was a great show, a great time. I hope you have a great week. I hope it sounds like a little more winter weather is coming back to Edmonton, but that's okay. We're still in the midst of winter. You've been listening to Hoop City with Paul Sir, Josh Fenwick. Have a great week on and off the court. We'll see you next week.